Hi, I'm Bonnie Browning, and I'm here with members of the Salt Creek Quilters Guild who won 3rd place in the Ultimate Guild Challenge here at AQS QuiltWeek in Grand Rapids. And so I'm going to just let you tell me, what were the rules for your challenge?
Well, the rules, the quilt had to be 36 inches square. It had to have bling, and we had to have somewhere paint chips. We were given 2 colors of paint chips. We had to use that in part of the fabric.
Okay.
And it had to be a Snapshot of America.
And then you had to have the...
Oh, and each top and bottom had to look like a film strip so that when they're all hung together, they look like one big long film strip.
Yes, and what a great idea and a great theme.
It was a good challenge.
And obviously the judges liked it too because they gave you 3rd place.
That's right. We're
thrilled.
thrilled.
Well, so how about if we talk to you individually about your quilts, and then we'll come back and talk about the quilts of the people who weren't here.
Okay.
Okay? Now I'm with Nancy Briskey, and you did a quilt called The Promise. And so tell us about yours.
Well, the reason I chose this particular theme was because it reminded me of when my grandparents came from Germany. The first thing my grandfather saw was the Statue of Liberty, and it had a big impact on me when I saw it for the first time. So that's what I did, and this is my own design.
Okay, and did you do all your own quilting and everything?
I did my own quilting, added my own bling.
Added your own bling.
And the paint colors were this and this, and I was fortunate to find one fabric with both colors.
Well, you were lucky.
I was.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, great quilt.
Thank you.
Now I'm here with Debbie Wesenberg, and yours is of Washington Island.
Yes.
Tell us about what your inspiration was.
Well, I started with the colors. This one and this one were my paint chip colors. And it reminded me of a sunset. So I searched and searched and searched for a picture of a sunset or some mountain scenes or something like that. And a friend of mine was going to Arizona. And I said, oh, Arizona has beautiful sunsets. Can you get me a good picture? She says, I got one better. I have a picture hanging on my wall already. And this was a picture of her son sitting on the shore of someplace in Washington Island, and it was absolutely perfect. So we recreated it, and I'm going to gift the quilt to her when we are finished here.
Well, and having it in silhouette too is a nice foreground to your background.
Yeah.
And you put a little bling in here with some fancy thread, didn't you?
I sure did. That was part of the challenge, and boy, I was struggling with that one.
Makes the water look like it's glistening.
It does. It does. It worked well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm with Arlene Forrest, and you've done the American barn quilt.
Yes.
So tell us about where this might be and what you put on your quilt.
It's really probably just in my imagination. But I've loved looking at all the American barn quilts in Illinois and around. I've taken pictures of all of them, as many as I can. And so when we had the challenge, I said, well, that's part of America, is the barn quilts. And the 2 chips I had happened to be this blue and yellow, and that made my quilt. And I found this wonderful fabric, and I used the color in the fabric, just adding a little more spice to it. So I just made it the front of the barn where they could be happy in their glades. So
and you added some swans down here?
Well, they were ducks.
Oh, they're ducks. Okay.
But they could be swans. But you know, I mean, just part of a barn.
Sure.
And your farmland of America.
Pots of flowers?
Pots of flowers.
Lots of different greens for some greenery?
Yes, they're nice trees and they're flower glades and they're the cat and the mouse.
And the mouse. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a fun challenge.
Yes, it was a wonderful challenge.
Okay, so the next quilt is Gateway to the Heartland by Robin Van Horn. So tell us about her quilt.
Well, that quilt is representing the arch that's in St. Louis. And, I don't know particularly why she chose that, but that was her choice.
I bet they might have taken a boat ride while they were there, too.
Very well could be, yes. And, of course, she had a lot of bling to it, which is wonderful, and I don't know what her paint chips were, but anyway.
Okay, our next quilt is Ships in the Setting Sun by Barbara Jerkinson. And golly, this one has a lot of technique in it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Each one of those rows is piping running through it, and which creates the shadow in the water. It appears as a tugboat. I'm not quite sure what her color theme was.
She used a lot of insertion of piping, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And it's very effective to make her quilt.
It is very effective. Lots of colors.
Well, good going, Barbara. We like your quilt.
Beautiful.
Okay, our next one is Somewhere in Wisconsin by Marilyn Martin. And boy, did she do a nice barn and silo.
Oh, it's wonderful. And Marilyn and her husband do go to Wisconsin quite a bit because he's a duck person. So they have many travels up there, and I do believe at one time they had a home, a summer home. And she loves dogs. Dogs are appliqued. Of course, there's a cute one in the pickup truck.
And I bet they see a lot of weather vanes on top of those barns when they go into Wisconsin as well.
Absolutely. And
typical barn.
Yeah, good barn.
The next one is We the People by Judy Deutschek, and the shading on this one is very interesting.
It's very interesting, and it's a lot of applique. I love the applique flowers, the rotary purse, I guess you would call it. And of course she does have the bling down there in the grass. With the people waving, I think it's lovely.
Looks like they're on the shore somewhere welcoming people in, aren't they?
Could be, very well, yes.
And I think if up close you can see that she's actually quilted We the People in her quilting there on the top of the quilt in the orange color. Our next quilt is by Alyssa A, and she's done one on Get Your Kicks, and she's out on Route 66 with the Burma Shave sign.
I love that. I miss seeing those Burma Shave signs on the old 66
and
or
look,
the new one.
And look at the detail, not only just the detail on the dash of the car, but you're seeing the city in the background in the mirror.
That's right.
She's got the perspective on this really good, doesn't she?
Right. And the Merrimack Caverns, how perfect is that?
Well, what a great quilt to end our tour of Snapshot of America by the Salt Creek Quilters.
Thank you very much. We enjoyed it. We're thrilled.